What is up, guys? We are live. Welcome back to 3 Men in a Podcast, guys. I'm Ange from Ange TV. We have
Claudio from Dirty Four Podcast and Semi Jofo in the Ring. Then we have this guy on the right.
This guy on the right.
You, Louis.
Me. It's my turn. Luigi C from Agree to Disagree show. Apparently, guys, I am a racist, misogynist, and what else? White power supremacist.
Yeah.
So, guys, next to me, actually this way, next to me, I have the founder, I guess. Is it the founder of Jofo in the Ring?
Sure. Why not?
You want to call it the founder, the man behind Jofo in the Ring, Mr. Frank Jofo. How are you, Frank? How you doing?
What's going on, everybody? You know what? I'll give it to you guys, and here we go. Thanks for having me on, guys. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. No, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for being here. All right, so Andrew, want me to go into this, or you want to go?
Yeah, no problem, Claudio.
All right, so as Andrew mentioned, we got Frank Jofo from Jofo in the Ring. By the way, before we get into this, every Wednesday nights, Frank and I do a review of Dynamite, AEW Dynamite review, 10 p.m. There's also we're gonna put the link for YouTube in the chat, so just like, share, and subscribe on Frank's page. And on Saturday, we're going to be doing the Elimination Chamber review at 12 p.m. Actually, we're going side by side. Yeah, we're going to be promoting AEW while we're watching a WWE match. That's Wrestling Talk. So we're here. Don't forget to do these 3 things, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Even to Jofo in the Ring, they want to get to 1,000 subscribers. We want to get to 100 subscribers. Yeah. So tell your friends, tell your families. Tell whoever,
grandmother,
exactly.
Lock up your children, lock up your wives.
Exactly.
Steal your grandmother's phone and subscribe to the channel.
Whether she likes it or not, just tell people to subscribe.
Too bad.
Exactly. How does this work? Don't worry, we got to figure it out. So we're gonna start with the cliche question. So Frank, for people who don't know, who you are, can you just explain to everyone how did you start Jofo in the Ring, and what is Jofo in the Ring?
Well, Jofo stands for just our effing opinion, and that's what it is. That's what it's all about these days. It's just our opinion, whatever we talk about. And I love to talk about wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan for God knows. Let me see, at least over 25 years. I'm 38 years old right now, so about 25, 26 years. And I've been into wrestling. You could probably blame my father for that, for bringing me to watch wrestling events while he was playing cards there at the bars there back in the day, which I honestly enjoyed watching because, like I said, I was a big wrestling fan. I was a big Hulk Hogan fan, Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, all the cliche wrestlers that everybody loved when they were a kid. But nowadays I'm interviewing myself and Jeremy Prophet and Kyle the Spoiler Morin, a good friend of Claudio's. We interview big time wrestlers, the Hall of Famers, WWE wrestlers, AEW wrestlers, and of course the independent wrestlers, where everybody has to get on top of these independent wrestlers because one day they might be on WWE or AEW. So we have to give them the recognition they deserve now before they make it to the big time. And we started, and now we're here. It's probably been we're almost about a year and a half, 2 years in, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for Jofo in the Ring. So,
wow, that's amazing, Frank. I mean, how, you brought me down memory lane when you said all those names, man. And Ange had a great question. Ange, you mind if I ask it? Because I thought it was
no problem. Go ahead, Luigi.
I wanted to. You had a great question in terms of how do you see. I know it's not it'd be difficult to do a direct comparison, but what the wrestling that we grew up watching, which was less, no, I wouldn't say less soap opera-ish, if you can, compared to today's wrestling. What in your opinion, what is the main difference?
You know what, my that's a good question because it's. When we were growing up, we believed in wrestling. We didn't know, maybe we knew it was fake, but nowadays the word is out. It's what they call in wrestling. They call it kayfabe. Kayfabe means that it's like Santa Claus. Once you don't believe anymore, it's over. The kayfabe is broken. It's done. But it's a lot different now because it's more real now. So you see the people that, like, for example, we all know that Claudio's a big the Fiend fan, is Wyndham fan.
Mm-hmm.
And he wears a mask and he's like gruesome and horror-ish and stuff like that on TV. And it makes people scared and stuff. So like, as a kid, if I would have saw this, like, compared to, like, let's say The Undertaker back in the day, when Undertaker debuted, if I could say, like, I probably shit my pants when he came out. I was scared. Like, who is this guy? Like, I'm not going to be able to sleep. I got to sleep with the light open and everything. You know, so you get scared. Nowadays, you see that same person, and if you see him, you're like, wow, I'm scared of this guy. And then you go on social media, and he's having a hamburger or he's watching a movie. Like, he's a normal person. So a lot of people get that deception of what's going on here. Is it real? Is it fake? But it's all about the storylines and the athleticism of these wrestlers and the way they portray their characters in the ring. So as much as we know it's fake, it's like a soap opera. It's like a TV show. I interviewed somebody that said it's the same thing like Sopranos and Breaking Bad. It's all about that storyline that hooks you in to want to make you watch this particular wrestler or this particular program. And that's what it's done for me. And sometimes the storylines don't hit. Sometimes they're boring and they're garbage. But as a wrestling fan, I'm a wrestling fan for life. Like I say, wrestling is life. And that's about it. Yeah.
I think one great thing I heard how to be explained it is that wrestling is soap opera for men.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, because like, there's, you know what? They're starting with a lot of the ladies matches nowadays. So a lot of the ladies, they want to bring in the women demographic in as well. But for us, it was like a weekly soap opera to watch maybe it was every Monday at the time, because a Monday Night Raw, that was the only show back in the day, or the pay-per-view. So you want to see your hero beat the bad guy so that you could tell your, hey, did you see what happened, you know, and plus the camaraderie of your friends that are wrestling fans as well makes it even more fun too. So yeah.
I had a question for you, Frank, about what was it? Yeah, it's about Jofo. Like, going back to Jofo, I want to know what came first, like your content of your commentary of wrestling, or Jofo. Which one came first, or Jofo in the Ring? Like, was it like you came up with your content and then you joined?
What do you mean, like Jofo, the Jofo podcast, or
like exactly.
The guys on Monday night? The guys on Monday night started first. At the time I was I don't know if, well, I'm sure you guys know I work on a boat as well.
Exactly.
So I was on the boats when that started. So not to say like, oh, it could have been me or whatever, but my friends are doing something great. I'm going to support them. But then after that, I would, like I said, I was always a wrestling fan, and then we, the day that Jofo podcast interviewed Kyle, and then Kyle, we found out that he was just as a bigger wrestling fan than me, and probably even bigger than me. So we talked, and the rest is history. So, and then obviously with Jeremy Prophet, we grew up with Jeremy in high school, and Jeremy came back into our lives a couple of years ago, and we were thinking of maybe doing a podcast with him because he's such a great wrestler and a great talker.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So for that, I'm very grateful to have him back in our lives here, helping us with the podcast, helping us with the channel, and broadening ourselves with the wrestling knowledge that he knows, bringing it to our fans and especially us ourselves to get us further in this business and wrestling podcasts. And like I said, it's a grind, you know, as you guys know, it's not easy, but you just got to keep working at it. And I think we're going to be there soon. So just crossing our fingers. So,
well, you're doing a really good job. Good for you, Frank. And
Appreciate that.
I'm happy that you did the collaboration, but I want to know something, like, how does it feel to be, like you said, just our effing opinion, right? Like, to be like, to make claims and stuff like that. And how do you deal with the backlash or people that disagree? Like, you know,
there's a lot of people that disagree.
That never happens. What are you talking about?
You know what? I always say, if you don't have any haters, you're not doing the job right. And
Excellent.
we have haters. I got hate mail, hate emails, hate messages. I could go on and on and on about it, man. There's a lot of jealousy in this business, in this game that we play, and it's like, for
Frank.
example,
Yeah.
it's like, for example, these guys, you get a wrestler that nobody's ever gone before, and they're like, oh, how did you get this guy? Like,
Exactly.
you're a piece of shit, and this and that. I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah.
who are you? Like, instead of saying congratulations, and maybe I would have said, hey, you want to interview him too, or no? Okay, so I'm a piece of shit. Okay, fine. But there's haters out there, like you guys know, and I just laugh about it. You know, sometimes it bothers me, and as my good friend Date to the Tracks is probably hearing me go on about these haters every day, but we have a laugh about it. You have to have a laugh, because once you get depressed about it, then it takes you out of the game, and it takes you out of the element of what you're actually doing here. And I'm trying to give knowledge to wrestling fans out there, and broaden my horizon for the wrestling podcast game.
So you would say that most of your haters are other wrestling podcasts?
yeah.
That's a good point. What you just said, Angie, in terms of distinguishing that type of hate, because that means, I was gonna say that if you, like you said, that means that you're doing something right. If you do have haters, because that means you stand for something, or you had the balls to actually do your show. But in this case, it's not that it's either out of jealousy, right? Either they've never had the
But you know what it is too? I tell people the show is called Just Our Effing Opinion. It's my opinion. And you have your opinion. You could be right. You could be wrong. My opinion is not always right, but it's my opinion. So you're going to argue my opinion, even though it could be right or it could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm always right. That's for sure. We're never always right. But you know what I mean? We could speculate, and we could hear things, and we could say things, but a lot of people out there, they're savages out there, man. But you gotta block that out, and just keep on going for your goals, and the future is bright. So
it's always been excuse me, it's always been amazing to me how, no matter what the subject matter is, right, it doesn't matter what it could be, what you're talking about, whether it be wrestling, like the manage for the wrestlers, the haters to come out, and it's amazing to me. So I think honestly, it's just the fact that a lot of people, it just really comes down to jealousy.
Well,
and
if you guys, I'm on Twitter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a savage land. It's a jungle out there, especially on Twitter compared to Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, there's not that much hate. Maybe in the DMs, but Twitter, it's straight in your face, and it's like, it's like, what the hell did I do to you to deserve this? So
I know. I saw a guy, one of my friends, made a comment about I think that was a Super or whatever, and then someone just destroyed him. Like he's like I was just being sarcastic, and this guy's destroying him. Man.
So it's not for the weak at heart, Twitter, but I enjoy it. But I think there has to be a lot more love and support. And that's why I always tell people, like, sometimes we do collaborations with like 4, 5, 6, 7 podcasts at the same time, and we were one of the first ones to do that in the community. And a lot of people got jealous of that. So I'm just trying to support other podcasts to help our podcast to maybe collaborate in the future, one-on-ones or something. But it's like, what did you do that for? I'm like, see, you can't win in this game, but you have to, like I said, you have to block it out and just do what you got to do for yourself, and you'll be fine. So,
well, Claudio, I'm a bit worried about you. You're not talking tonight. What's going on? Just
saving it for 10 p.m.
Because here's the thing. Yeah, that's it. Because I'm saving it for Jofo In the Ring Dynamite review at 10 p.m.
That's right.
But going back to and Frank was telling me this since day one, because I'll be honest with you, the first time I met the Jofo was through Kyle, and I'm like, oh my god, man, these people are gonna savagely, brutally ruin me. But honestly, like. And I said this on Twitter, and I say to everyone I'm talking about, the Jofo and Jofo In the Ring, the whole Jofo crew, they're nothing but amazing people.
Absolutely.
And
Appreciate
the fact that no problem, and the fact that Frank is one of many, only people that I know. It's like, oh yeah, no, you got a podcast, cool, because let's admit it, there's like also other podcasters like, oh yeah, you're doing this, and there's that J word, the jealousy word. The Jofos, again, both Jofo and Jofo In the Ring, I'm putting the Jofo universe together.
Yeah, we're all the same. It's one brand, brand.
So you're not gonna be like, oh, we had him on. Why'd you have them on? It's professional a la max, and that's it.
We try our best. It was like, remember when we had you on? We had the Royal Rumble. Claudio, remember? And we had all the wrestling podcasts. And, I'm like, you know what, Claudio, I'm going to throw him, not to say, okay, I feel bad for the guy, but you know what? I know Claudio works hard. Everybody sees Claudio works hard. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tell him to come on the podcast. And someone asked me, he's like, oh, but he's not a wrestling podcast. I go, no, but he's my friend. He has a podcast and I want him to promote it on my channel, and that's how it should be for everybody.
Exactly,
It doesn't matter if it's wrestling or like you, Ange, like you have your Ange collects, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, you know what I mean? We're all doing the same thing here. We're all striving for the same goals. And you know what I mean? Like I said, there's going to be haters and I what's the word I'm trying to say? I embrace the haters, I bring them on, you know what I mean? I got one of the best and the best at each of the tracks to take care of those haters. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's right. I think Gary V said it perfectly, right? You embrace the hate. You have to. Because that means that you should actually feel bad for them. And you know what, Frank? Honestly, I'm really glad that you brought it up because we've had this discussion. How long, guys? Angelo and Claudio. How long have we had this? I even had the discussion when I had the Jofo boys on my podcast, and I basically said that they were fucking dying. And I said, guys, there's just some people I just fucking hate. I just can't take it because I don't understand. And I'm like I said, I love that you brought it up, and I love your attitude towards it because we're such a small community in Montreal. When we'll talk about community, podcast community, why wouldn't you want to help each other out? All we have is each other. Exactly. If we want to put Montreal as a city on the map, or the podcast map, why wouldn't we help each other? I noticed, Frank, even before you even knew me, you were liking my stuff, you were commenting on my stuff, and vice versa. So like I'm so happy you said that, and I'll never understand the opposite. I'll never understand saying, hey, Frank Jofo, you were the first one to do this collaboration. On the contrary, you should be applauded for that.
Exactly, but there's a lot of people out there that they instead of focusing on themselves, they're focusing on other people, and that's where they're wrong in a sense because you know what? If you focus on yourself and just block all that stuff out, I think anyone will do good in this wrestling podcast game, so to say. So these people like. I don't argue with them. You kill them with kindness too, right? And that's what I try to do. And you know what I mean? There's people that have blocked me and like there's a guy that anyways, I'd like to I'll talk about it in brief. But we have a wrestling podcast group and we help each other out with likes and shares and stuff like that. And I came in and he invited me in. Okay, but half the group or 3/4 of the group, I already knew them already. Like I didn't know this group existed, so I'm like, okay, that's great. It's gonna help me go forward and maybe reach out to more people that I haven't reached out to yet. So I'm like, okay, thanks, man. I could left it at that, but a lot of people were already my friends, and I talked to, just for example, I talked to about 15 guys a day podcasting every day. Seeing what's going on. What do you like? Hey, want to come on my show? Or what do you think about this? We shoot the shit. We're not actual friends. Like I'll have a beer with them because some of them are one's from the UK, one's from New York, one's from Chicago, one's from Florida, one's from Texas. All these people I talk to, man. And so it's like they're all in that group, and then all of a sudden, people were bigging me up because I got a couple of significant interviews with some big time wrestlers that this guy didn't get yet. So he's like, oh, I have 4,000 subscribers and I haven't gotten this guy. Or the same thing to happen when we get the same guy and I get more views than the guy and he doesn't. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, maybe it just happens that way. Or I don't know, maybe I did something right and you did something wrong. Maybe we could help each other out, next time. Maybe we could do it together, to help both each other. No, what are you, crazy? So he got jealous and everything, and he just blocked me, just like that. I'm like, okay. 6 months down the line, comes back. He's like, oh, I want to apologize. I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with you. Like, I don't want that negativity in my life. So I'm like, a month after that, I'm like, okay, you know what? He's apologizing. Let me be the bigger guy here. Apologize. He literally did the same thing a week later. And I'm like, okay, that's enough, man. I'm gonna say. But there's people like that. And I laugh about it because it's, I'm not doing this to go on TSN or WWE and sit next to Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler or be the next Bobby the Brain Heenan. You know what I mean? I just want to have fun and just give content to wrestling fans that they have never seen, or maybe they've seen somewhere else, but a little bit better. That's all.
Frank, I agree with you. But the reason why I want to do this is because you want to be the commentator in AEW. I mean, come on. I want. You know, at this point, I want.
It's everyone's dream. It's everyone's dream. But you know what? Like, it's these people, like they have to stop, man. And it's this. They have to support people, man. I think yourself in general, even if it's not a podcast, by supporting somebody, by helping them cross the street or something, or paying their coffee or something, it goes a long way. Instead of saying, hey, you can't pay that coffee, go F yourself, get the hell out of here. Like, what? Here's $1.50 here, buy a coffee, no problem, man. Hit me up next time, man. It's like, there's a lot of haters out there. It's the jealousy, man. People are so jealous of people, and I don't get it, man. But
I think that's. Sorry, go ahead, Claudio.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, but you're right. It's all jealousy. It's because the moment people see you doing something good, they're like, oh, well, for example, like especially in the comedy scene, right? Especially in the comedy scene, I've been bullied by. Frank knows his name. I've been bullied by him 3 years ago, and to this day, he's just like, oh, you're not allowed to do shows here. You're not allowed to do shows there. I'm like, well, you know what? Even better. And instead of telling others, saying that, this guy's running a mud show, why don't you run a fucking show? And then he goes, oh, well, you know what? I wouldn't be able to run a restaurant. So you know what? So shut the fuck up and just wait until everything opens up. But in a way, but anyway, before we continue, Luigi, I just want to say this. In a way, it makes you stronger, right? Because let's admit, like when we all get into this business, right, entertainment, we're all like, oh my god, we're all wondering, like, how do we piss off A or B, right? Yeah. But then as time goes on, people are admiring you for who you are. I mean, if you're an asshole, then they go up. But if you're a good-hearted person, people see that. Then they're like, well, you know what? This person's a good-hearted person. I don't see why there's all the hate or all the fuss.
Exactly. So but that's where it comes down to it, and you just have to keep doing what you're doing, and don't look at the numbers, don't look at the messages, don't look at the comments. Just. And if I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't be doing this. That's another thing too. Like I'm having fun. Like I'm a wrestling fan. It's not like I play. I'm a rugby fan, and I love rugby, but I'm going to talk about wrestling. No, like I love wrestling, and everyone that watches my show knows I love wrestling. Wrestling is life, and here we go, and I love doing that stuff because it makes everyone happy. So I love doing that stuff, and exactly. And then Claudio's delete, and like I said, and even you, Claudio, I know you like wrestling. You're like I always call you're the closet case wrestling fan. You don't really talk about it that much, but I know you love wrestling. So that's why I asked you to come on the show on Wednesdays. So to talk wrestling, and it's been going great. So I'm very grateful for that. So thank you.
You know what's funny? I wanted to tell you this guy. I heard this a couple of weeks ago. I was listening to another famous podcast. I don't remember. I believe it was Joe Rogan when he had Andrew Schultz, the one that he does his podcast with, the Indian comedian. I forgot his name. And he says, guys, let's admit it, guys. Listen, and it's going to tie into what Frank says, because we all do this, Ange, Claudio, me, Frank, we all do this because we love it. But guys, he said something which is so true. He goes, you know what? When I hear people say it, I do it because I love it and I want to build content. And he goes, stop fucking lying. Okay, because the ego that you have, that you all have, that we all have to think that our words, our spoken words, that there's at least one person that actually wants to hear what we have to say, it's all about ego. Then everything else comes along with it, right? It's because I love doing it. But first and foremost, it's ego. I just found it interesting the way he said it.
Well, a lot of people they look at Jeremy Prophet and they're like, this guy is an egomaniac. Like this guy embraces he's called the harbinger of truth, the Black Dynamite, Jeremy Prophet, the voice of the voiceless. You could call him anything you want, but a lot of people are like, this guy, and a lot of people hate on him. But the guy, you know what? He's confident in what he's doing. He's a confident wrestler. He's a great wrestler. Mm-hmm. So why not tell everybody he's the best in the world and everything? And if you don't agree with it, well, it's just his effing opinion in the end, right? That's what it all comes down to in the end. It's so crazy to think that Jofo, it goes with everything in life. It could be anything. Like
Absolutely.
I like water, you like juice. Okay, well that's just your opinion, I guess. Like it's I don't know. That's just the way I
And
think.
he's got the look, Jeremy Prophet. Like if there's one guy that would have the look, he has the sunglasses, like he's gritty.
The
Like
you
it's a perfect look.
the look, seeing him on YouTube and Facebook and all the social medias doesn't give him justice, man. The guy is a savage. The guy is a beast, man. And you go back and check out when he first came on our show and he chopped Kyle. And I couldn't believe it that Kyle even wanted to get chopped. I'm like, okay, I have never gotten chopped before by Jeremy, but I've seen him chop many guys, and I wouldn't want to be that guy. And Kyle was one of them, and he got chopped, and he had this big red mark on his chest there, and Kyle's got that like pasty white skin there, and it was like, wow, man, like as red as Claudio's shirt there. So it was crazy. It was crazy, but but Jeremy, like, you know what? He speaks his mind, and that's what I love about him, man. He doesn't hold back, and he doesn't care what other people think. So I think that's why we work good together. So,
sorry, guys. I wanted to know, because I think, again, this could be related to in anything that we do, but more in particular to wrestling. And I did notice that, how do you deal with the competition? And I find it so, but actually I could relate it to anything. The saturation, there's so many podcasts out there in wrestling. How do you deal with that? How do you try to stand out? How do you deal with the competition?
Well, the one thing I do try to stand out is I start my show every time with a "Here we go,"
Okay.
and you know what, people just they message me and they go, "Hey, I want to hear that 'Here we go,"
Yeah.
So that subliminally is telling them, "Hey, I want to," like that little subliminal thing that I do maybe attracts them to watch the show. Maybe they don't even care who's on the show; they just want to hear that. 5-6 times they'll just watch that, and then they won't even watch the interview. But then there's that one interview that I go, "Here we go," and then like we just had Tugboat Typhoon. He was part of the natural disasters back in the 90s. He's a WWE tag team champion. He was the tag teams with the Earthquake. He fought Jacques Rougeau. We had Jacques Rougeau on as well. So it's like, oh wow, well, instead of hearing the "Here we go" here, let me dip into this interview, because I used to watch the Mountie. I used to watch Tugboat. I used to watch The Godfather. So I think that doing something out of the ordinary, that not like everybody does, but at least I'm a little bit different from everybody, and I like to have fun on my podcast too. A lot of podcasts, there's a lot of them that just stand there and they're like, they're all depressed, and it's like, hey, how did you get into wrestling? Oh, that's great. Okay, well, like I'm upbeat. I like to, hey, what's going on? I saw you go wrestle a match. It was amazing. Like I like to be enthusiastic about it. So I think that puts me on a different level than a lot of the guys out there. But a lot of the other wrestling podcasts too, they have their significant thing too. A lot of them do rap. They do rap music involved in their thing too. Or I don't know. There's a lot of the great podcasts out there. But I think I stand out because of those little things. And the wrestling is life, and the way we edit our podcast as well. We like to do live streams as well, but I like to pre-record my stuff, so I like to put a little bit of effort into the post-production and everything. So, and then you get, what makes me happy is that I get the messages from these wrestlers after, and then I think it's just a one-off deal. They're going to do an interview with me, and I don't mind. Some of them don't even reach out after, but some of them do, and they say, "Wow, thanks, man. I had so much fun. It was like I had a lot of laughs, and a lot of my fans are telling me that it was fun." And I'm like, that's all I want, man. That's all I want in life, man. If one person tells me that, I'm happy, man. I'm happy.
You're right. That's a big compliment. That one, doesn't take much.
That's all it takes, is that one person. If I'm making a difference for one person, hey, that's all that matters to me, man. Because then after that one person goes to 2, then the next person goes to 4, then to 6, then to 8. So
just before we continue, I don't want. I just want to. There were some people here in the chat that we saw. Emily, oh hey, can't wait to discover this Frank Jofo guy. Then there's Melanie Azaf, hey guys, and then there's a Pat. IGG33. I used to be a big wrestling fan back in the 80s and early 90s. I also have a box of old wrestling magazines and pictures. Ooh. I have over 100 wrestling magazines or maybe more. That's great. Patig33. Just do yourself a favor. Subscribe to Jofo in the Ring. And if you're new watching us here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. just hit the red button. It doesn't take much to do. And
That's another thing too about
yeah.
the fans out there too. And I like to. We call them the Jofo Mafia for a reason, because you know what, they help us out a lot. If it's for Jofo podcast, if it's for our wrestling podcast, you know,
Yeah.
it's all the same people. And I appreciate every single one of them, from all the people in the chat as well. That I watch Jofo podcast, I watch your show. You know, it's all about collaboration, and once you collaborate, the support is there. So I appreciate everybody out there that supports us, and of course you guys as well.
And you know what? I want to bring up something that you said about support, Frank. It's important. Like, it's important to make stuff. Like, make your own stuff, and then take the time to enjoy other people's stuff.
Of course.
Yeah,
But that goes a long way too. Exactly, because I like to watch wrestling, but I like to watch, you know, like Trax was telling me about the cards and stuff. Right? Maybe we should look at the wrestling cards. And I go, but Ange collects, you know, so I just watch that. You know,
collaboration. You could do an
the Pokemon cards, you know, stuff like that. So it's good to broaden your horizon to watch other things. If I just watch wrestling, am I gonna go crazy sometimes? You know, sometimes I have to watch something else to filter my brain out a bit, but. It's good to watch other stuff, and that's for sure, man. It keeps you sane, you know. So
that's a good point, though. If you want to do an AEW opening, let me know. I'll get the AEW.
Yeah, sure. We'll talk about that for sure, 100%. I think the new. I think they're already out, or they're out about to come out. Yeah. So I was looking into that. So yeah, we'll talk, Ange, for sure.
Okay, man.
For sure.
We're doing business deals live on the air here.
Exactly. Nothing.
I love it. Me and Claudio get a little love here as well.
Listen. We're already doing the Dynamite review, so there we go. So if you guys want to talk about the politics of wrestling, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Ange, is there any cards for politicians?
Not yet.
Print a few of them out.
Soon. I wouldn't be surprised.
That would be for me. That would be for me.
Personally. So Frank, let's go. A little bit personal. So do you find during these lockdowns, it helped you as a podcaster to grow, or did it drive you insane? This lockdown.
The difference is with me, and I tell a lot of people this too. The lockdown didn't really affect me. Unfortunately, because I work on a boat, so the boats were going. Didn't matter if there was COVID or hurricanes or anything. I'm on the water there, and COVID doesn't exist there. So it's. I was still working in that. So, but I know that there was a lot more people at home, so I was putting a lot more content out. You know, so and it's like with everything. I'm trying to gain new viewers, gain new subscribers, gain new people to watch my product. So the more content I put out, the more people will watch. Hopefully, that's my reasoning behind it. But it really helped me to focus on where I wanted to go with the podcast, because, like I was telling you guys before, for me, it's if I'm working 8 or 10 hours a day, the podcast is taking about maybe 3 or 4 hours a day, maybe sometimes even more. Sometimes if I really want to go crazy, but it's a part-time job, and a lot of us don't get paid to do this. Maybe eventually we will with the YouTube, and maybe if we open up a Patreon and that. But getting a sponsor helped us out a lot, and so it's just I don't know. It's COVID hurt a lot of people, but I think it helped a lot of people in the podcast game as well, because I think it made them focus on certain things that they wanted to do for the future of their podcast. And it helped us a lot. But like I said, me personally, it didn't affect me because I was still working 10, 12 hours a day at the time. So yeah, but like I said, I'm only good. I'm only good as much as my team. My team helps me out a lot when I'm not in the city. You got Selecta Brew, like I said, Jeremy Prophet and Kyle, and they do a lot of work too. So I have to give them big ups too. It's just not me over here, even though I'm on the podcast, but these guys help us out a lot, and it shows, because you know what, a lot of people are asking Kyle for wrestling advice, and Jeremy too as well. Jeremy gets booked on these shows now. I know that he's going to be wrestling in. I think in Saskatchewan or something like that in the next couple of weeks, and then there's a big. It's called Lit Academy with Jacques Rougeau that he's going to be doing like a kind of like an American Idol kind of thing with wrestlers, so that you'll be able to watch and there's going to be judges. The judges will vote. We'll have 40% of the vote, and then 60% of the other 60% is going to be a fan vote. So whoever's watching could vote on the wrestler they want to win, and then they go on to the week after, and the week after until they hit the final, and then the winners, there's going to be 4 winners. One winner is going to be a man, one woman, and one tag team. So it's four winners, $5,000 each. They're going to win, and they get a month at the Nightmare Factory, where Cody Rhodes' brother Goldust, if you guys remember Goldust,
Yeah, of course.
he has a wrestling school named the Nightmare Factory with QT Marshall, and they're part of AEW, and they're going to be able to work at the school for a month on them, like as a gift, as a prize. So $5,000 plus a month to get trained by some of the AEW wrestlers that are there. And that's all. That's what it's all about. It's all about opportunity, and I can't wait for that. So, and that was supposed to happen. Last year. So, it's going to happen this year because of the COVID. So we're happy that that's going to be happening. But COVID killed a lot. Well, I shouldn't say that. It hurt a lot of people going forward in podcasting and in life too as well. So I'm very grateful that things are easing down now and things are starting to open up back up again. So it's going to help a lot of people, especially, like I said, for the Canadian wrestlers that are going to be getting this opportunity for Lutte Academy. And I want to thank Jacques Rougeau. He's been a good friend. I never thought I would see the day that I'd be talking to Jacques Rougeau on the daily, talking about wrestling. But here we are, and I'm helping him out with Lutte Academy, and we hope that Jeremy is one of the winners at the end, going to the Nightmare Factory and winning the $5,000, and of course getting the opportunity to be seen by the U.S. viewers, because Canadian wrestlers don't get that over here, because we're Canadian and we can't go to the U.S. and work because you need that work visa. You know, it's easier for a U.S. citizen to come to work in Canada than it is for a Canadian to go work in the U.S. So, and especially with COVID, it hurt a lot of these Canadian wrestlers. And in Canada, there was no wrestling; it just stopped. Yeah. They just stopped. There was no hockey. There was no wrestling. There was no nothing.
Exactly.
So I'm very happy that COVID is on the downward slope, and hopefully we will forget about it one day and just maybe laugh about it. But we'll see what happens. But I'm very happy to see that everyone's getting this opportunity at Lutte Academy.
But don't we have like a rich history of producing Canadian wrestlers, Frank? I mean, how do the Americans perceive? We have a long line, right? Of you mentioned the Rougeau family, obviously, their royalty. Dino
Bret
Bravo,
Hart, you got the Hart family. That's just the biggest one.
So how do the Americans perceive that in terms of? I mean, you think that they get? I mean, Canadian wrestlers get enough?
You gotta look at it in this. I look at it in this way. You have. A couple of months ago, there was Kenny. I don't know if you guys know who Kenny Omega is. Kenny Omega is a Canadian wrestler. He was Chris Jericho. Well, I'll talk about Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was the first ever AEW champion ever, Canadian. Second champion, Kenny Omega, Canadian. You know, and then you talk about, like you said, like if you talk about wrestling, WWF back in the day, and in our day, Louis, Bret Hart was the man, Canadian. True. Owen Hart, Canadian. You know, all these guys. And we're just talking about it, like Tugboat and Earthquake. Remember Earthquake? Earthquake was Canadian. I didn't even know that. You know, he was called the Canadian Earthquake before. So it's just there's a lot of good Canadian wrestlers out there, but like I said, it's the border situation that doesn't help the fact that if you want to go and wrestle at a promotion in the US, you can't. The only way you can is if you are an exceptional talent. And the ones that have to vouch for you are the big companies like AEW and WWF. So if an independent show wants someone to come wrestle from Canada, you're basically breaking the law if you go and do that.
Yeah.
So and that's why a lot of people they wrestle under their masks. They don't promote themselves on these US shows because they don't want to get in trouble. Because the next time they go, I know somebody that got banned for 5 years. At the border, he couldn't wrestle in the States, so he had to go wrestle in UK and Mexico, and obviously in Canada. He's a Canadian wrestler. His name is Speedball Mike Bailey. He just made it to Impact Wrestling this year after a 5-year ban, but the guy was the hottest wrestler in the world, Canadian. So
Incredible.
it's tough, man. It's tough. So that's why an opportunity like this that the Lutte Academy is giving Jacques Rougeau to these Canadian wrestlers. It's going to be all these Canadian wrestlers are going to be in one place, and they're going to be showcasing their skills in front of the world. I don't know if there's a TV deal, but they're going to be on the Hannibal TV YouTube channel, which has over 300,000 subscribers. So, and he gets about 3-4 million views a month. So there's going to be some exposure there. And then, like I said, the winner gets $5,000 and the opportunity to go try out at the Nightmare Factory in front of these AEW wrestlers. So let's say what happens is Jeremy does win, and I hope he does. He gets an opportunity there, and they say, wow, well, who is this guy? I've never seen him before. They don't, because they're Canadian, right? So the opportunity is there. Maybe we'll put you in a match on AEW Dark and see what you're all made of. You know, that opportunity wouldn't have came if this would have happened in Canada, right? So
True.
So it's tough. It's tough.
Well, it's great that he's doing it, right? I mean, especially Jacques Rougeau and how beloved he is here in Canada.
For sure.
So it's really great. I think he wasn't he on Nick Drosso's show?
Yeah,
Guys,
he was.
wasn't
he was. Yeah, he was.
I haven't watched it yet, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out too as well. So
Yeah.
I love the Rougeau
Yeah.
family. So really, really nice.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to ask this question, and I just with all this talk that we see, concussions and head traumas having to do with wrestlers over time. What's your take on that? How do you? Who was the famous? Wasn't he Canadian too? I loved him in WWE, and I think he killed himself and he beat up his wife too, or something like that.
Benoit.
Chris Benoit.
Chris Benoit. Thank you.
Chris Benoit.
You know, that one really made me sad. So and there's been quite a few also that had that. So how do you see this trauma? I mean, I'm very much along the lines how you see NHL.
It's you know what, it's tough because a lot of these guys back in the day, these guys were getting fed steroids and all these pills and everything. So once you don't have these pills anymore, what do you do after? You know, you start getting depressed and you start getting the anxiety, and then you start hitting the real drugs after the dangerous drugs, and then the alcohol and staying up all night and wrestling the next day and driving. So it takes a toll. And back in the day, and I talked to Tugboat, our latest interview, and he said he had over 100 concussions.
Jeez.
But he still wrestled. He goes, his brain is mush. But the thing is that a lot of people didn't know if they actually had a concussion back then, you know? So, and nowadays in wrestling, if you watch very closely, sometimes the ref will pull up an X, you know, or the ref will when he's talking to a wrestler in the ring, like subliminally, he'll touch the hand of the ref of the wrestler just to, and if the wrestler pushes on the hand, that means that I'm okay, because you always have to watch and because you never know, the guy could be brain dead on the floor, but he still looks like he's good to go. But so the ref is very important nowadays. So they push the button. Okay, I'm good. That's to their own discretion now. Yeah. But they could actually have a concussion. But going back to what you were saying is that a lot of these guys, they didn't know, so and their brains were all fried, and they were just pumping pills and taking drugs and that. So their brains were just going crazy. And like a guy like Chris Benoit, I still can't believe that, because I was a big fan of Chris Benoit as a wrestler. Now, as a human being, what he did, I wouldn't tell anybody to do that. You know what I mean? Like, but the thing is like maybe he needed help. And nobody knew about it. So that's why there's a lot more help, people that are helping people out like that, you know, and anxiety and depression and that. So that's what's good about it nowadays, that they're caring more about these wrestlers now, because I think they were just getting shoved down our throats, and they were like pieces of meat to us. Like, oh, where is he? I want to see him wrestle. But nowadays, it's like, hey, these people are human beings too, right? So they have to care. They have families, you know, and regardless of how much money they make, you know, they're not making that much. Okay, some of them do make a lot of money, but some of them make like under $100,000 a year, you know. So, but they have lives too.
I look at it. I mean, I know that it's so demanding on their bodies, the travel, the time away from home.
300 days a year on the road.
I mean, guys, I don't know about you. I don't know about you
Oof.
guys. How many humans could actually start doing that and not having to develop a little bit of depression, loneliness, and
Yeah.
dealing and
And they
replacing
say
that
the
with drugs?
divorce rate is very high in wrestling too.
Well,
So
of
imagine that.
course.
Just on top of everything, you lose matches. Like some of these wrestlers have egos. Oh, they want to win, then they lose. They go back to the hotel. They're all depressed. Their wife
Yeah.
is not there. It's a whole whirlwind of thoughts. So that's
Yeah.
why. And like we said before, having a good support system around them. Maybe Chris Benoit didn't have anybody to talk to
No.
about this. Or the same thing with it's. You just can't
Well,
tell, man, and
yeah.
you just have to be happy, and you have to support everybody. And I think if you make other people happy, maybe it'll make them happy in a sense that, you know what, maybe I'll go out and go take a walk or watch TV or go see my friend instead of sitting at home with the blanket and just
Yeah, but has
Yeah.
it been two questions? Has it been cleaned up? And
Yes.
has it cleaned?
Yes.
And do
Big
they
time,
have
big
more
time.
support now? Do the
There is more
various
support. There's toll-free numbers now, and I think they have support systems in place for the wrestlers to talk to each other, and there's programs for that too now. So it helps the wrestlers too, and it helps the product too, because you don't want the guy to go out there and look depressed, and
Yeah.
because sometimes you could tell that these guys, it takes a toll. It takes a toll. I ran the ropes one time. Well, one time I ran it 3 times, but there was the one time in an actual wrestling ring. And it's not easy, man. It's not easy. And I'm not in
No.
shape. So just to say that these guys, they're warriors, man. So they
are.
and they're human beings. They're human beings. They're just not people that we just watch and like, we're out for blood, like these guys are human beings, and they deserve just as much support as we get. They deserve it too. So, and it's a lot better than it was. Like to answer your question, it's a lot better than it was before.
Yeah.
Big time.
That's for sure. That's for
Big
sure.
time. Because you don't want that lawsuit after too, right?
Well,
Exactly.
You don't want that lawsuit. It's like, wow, the guy killed himself, and then they go and they check out and they're like, wow, this guy had this, and this because of wrestling. That's not good, man. So
Yeah, exactly.
so
No,
so it's a lot better now.
Somebody
Thank
was
God.
saying Eddie Guerrero. Did he
Yeah.
commit suicide?
Yeah, yeah.
No, he
so-
didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't
No,
commit
no,
suicide.
no.
He died. But I think it was. I don't want to say if it was, but I think it was a big pill popper. That's what I heard, but I don't want to speculate. But there was something with that, and
Overdose.
so
Something.
overdose.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys think they're all a pill. If you can't get this certain drug that helps your pain, you're gonna go
Yeah.
get something else under the table.
Yeah.
That doesn't do what it's supposed to, but maybe it'll calm your nerves a bit, but it's not good for your health, right? And these pills in the States, they all cost money. Here we're lucky. We have healthcare here. Over there, if you have no money or nothing, you're going to maybe a drug dealer to get something. I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah,
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I just want to correct myself because I mentioned Eddie Guerrero and then Andrew mentioned he killed himself. I still say yeah, but I didn't say yes to him killing himself. I just said yeah that he died. That's all I want to say because I said yeah while you
And
guys
that
were
was just out
asking
of the
questions.
blue. Like that was like
Yeah,
I think
yeah, then-
I think
yeah.
Chris Benoit was first.
Was
And
it,
then
was it,
Eddie
I thought it was opposite.
Oh yeah, it was opposite. It was
Yeah, it
opposite.
was
You're right.
that
Eddie
because
Guerrero
that-
was first.
Yeah.
And then just to say, you would think maybe the Eddie Guerrero dying maybe screwed up Benoit even more to snap and like.
Yeah.
You never know, man. You just don't know. You don't know what's going on in people's brains these days. But
Well-
it's getting a lot better now, but you still don't know for sure. Like, hey, why did he do this for? You can't ask
because-
somebody that for obvious reasons, but
Since then, has there been another situation?
Not that
well,
I know of.
there's well, not to that extent there, but on the top of my head, no. I
Well,
don't,
guys,
I don't think so. I'm sure there is, but maybe they haven't talked about it. But
Yeah.
But when you think about it, guys, imagine being away from your family 300 nights a year, the abuse their body takes, the pain that they are in when they have multiple injuries. And I've seen The Undertaker on the Joe Rogan show, Diamond Dallas Page. I mean, these guys, man, the pain that they have to live with and go through.
that's why a lot of these wrestlers now they're all hooking up within the company now. So their girlfriends or their boyfriends are all working in the company. So if they're on the road 200 or 300 days a year, at least they're with their wife or their girlfriend now, But then Vince McMahon, the animal that he is, sometimes they break them up onto 2 shows. So it's like, no, you can't see her now. So he's an animal, Vince McMahon. He's like, okay, you go on SmackDown and you stay over here on Raw, so you're still not together, you know. So, but that's just my opinion. I don't know if he does that on purpose, but
it's like babe,
mean, right?
It's like babe. I'm on Dynamite page. All right, send me dick pics. That's all. Send me dick pics.
Well, think about it, guys. A lot of corporations, a lot of companies don't like that either. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Because a lot of people complain like, oh, you're playing favoritism because maybe one guy's the champion, and you know. So many politics in wrestling. I love it. I love it. That makes me laugh.
That's right. You know, sticking to this topic of wrestling, that's right. Like I tell Frank, I tell everyone, like John Moxley is one of my favorite wrestlers. And Dean Ambrose. So for those of you who don't know who John Moxley is, he used to be a wrestler called Dean Ambrose back in WWE, and now he's on AEW. He came back a few weeks ago, and he had this epic speech. Just type in John Moxley's speech return. But anyways, all I'll say, like it's been years that I have not shed a tear, and every time I listen to Moxley's speech, because he drank a lot right before matches, and then he had to take like a few months away from the ring, but then he came back. He was stronger and he was better. It kind of reminded me, like, you know, when I was hospitalized, and then I came back and I was, you know, stronger and better.
Inspirational, man. It's great.
We need the Hulk Hogan music in the background.
Exactly. Yeah.
I am a real.
But you know, honestly, that's it. You know, and just listening to that and hearing that, it just amazes me. You know.
But that's what it is too now, Claudio. Right now in the day of social media, everyone kind of knows what everyone's business is.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like we didn't know that about John Moxley before. When you know, like there was months that he was drinking by himself and all the press. Who knows, man? You know, you just don't know. And even as much as we didn't know now, imagine back in the day. We didn't know any of this. We just thought, hey, Hulk Hogan's my favorite wrestler, and I'm gonna watch wrestling, and that's it. You know, and a lot of people are getting into it now that like, oh, we actually care about these guys, you know, like, you know, so that's it. It's good to see, man, but times have changed, right? So
exactly.
good
Times have changed for the good, you know. Yeah, and
exactly.
Yeah.
Can I share a classic story with you guys?
Sure.
So,
Go.
As the guys know, I'm in the mortgage industry. Okay, so a couple of years back, so basically, we do a lot of events that I see a lot of my competitors and the mortgage brokers and business development managers. So we go to an event, okay, and there was this woman that was our client, and so she had the hairstyle literally from the 80s. So now, when I say 80s, remember the Farrah Fawcett almost like
that
puffy on the side and poofy on top and poofy on the sides. So, guys, listen to this. So we're just talking, and she comes there, and then one of my ex-colleagues, I'm not going to say his name, comes up to me, goes, "Bro, I just ran into the Ultimate Warrior." Oh my God, guys, you have no idea. You have no idea the laughter. Every time we would have a mortgage event in the industry, and she would be there, which is uncontrollable laughter, all of us.
What are you laughing for? I'm not gonna say. That's great, man. And then you know what? I can tell you're a wrestling fan too, man. In the sense that you know what, little things like that. You know, like even like it was when The Rock or Hulk Hogan, like all the catchphrases. You know, how many times have I told my mother, "It doesn't matter what you want to make," you know, like stuff like that, and ooh yeah, you know, like it's great, man, and that's what it should be all about. That the laughter and the enjoyment of wrestling and everything in life too. Right?
Yeah, so, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think anyone could beat a together interview with Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. I don't think anyone.
Oh my God,
that is the best.
Top. Sorry,
that is the best. To this day, that is one of my favorite comedies. Like MMA City Universe. Like, what the fuck? What brother? I'm gonna bring you down.
When they're just about to shake hands there.
They must have been on some kind of drug right there. Because there's no normal.
I'm gonna say they were on mushrooms because it looked like they were on mushrooms. Because I don't know, man. But mushrooms makes you laugh, but I don't know. Maybe it was really good cocaine. I don't know, but
Oh, yeah.
that's just me. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Claudio, that was so good.
Oh,
Could they
man.
do a bit more? Do a bit more. Oh my god.
It's like there was somebody I forgot who I interviewed. They used to tell me that Ultimate Warrior, if you really listen to his interviews, he didn't say anything. You would just mash up words and like, you know what? I'm gonna take you down to this town and I'm gonna do this to you, and then I'm gonna. He was saying nothing. It just sounded good. But there was nothing coming out of his mouth, like literally, like with all the saints in the heavens, and then my friend on the side, and then it's like, okay, and then that's over. Right. Okay, where you want to take that again? No, I'm going to go with that one. Okay,
the best. So. The best, and even to this day, and Frank, I know I like this wrestler so much, Matt Hardy. He's called himself Broken Matt, and just his interviews. Yes, I have traveled galaxies to try.
But you see where it comes down to, like that's the little instinct that made you like Matt Hardy. That that's what makes you want to watch him even more. Exactly, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a great memory. Since we're taking a trip down memory lane, Pat Ignoto says, back in the days, I used to go to Paul Sauvé Arena and watch wrestling with my next door neighbor, Tony Lanza. Rest in peace. He was quite simply the greatest wrestling photographer the world has ever known. Wow.
Nice.
I remember that. Have you guys did you ever go? I never went.
I wanted to go. I wanted to go see a wrestling show. I wanted to go see that in-house wrestling that they had, but COVID came.
It's coming up, March 6th. WWE is going to be in Montreal. I'm going to be there, and then the week after, the 12th. There's IWS event at Telus Arena. I know there's some tickets still on sale. $40. It's not that bad. It's not that expensive, for a casual wrestler.
Wow, you're gonna love this. Check this out, Frank. During intermission, Tony Lanza also brought me to the locker room, and I actually met Abdullah the Butcher, Eddie Kretschmann, Gino Brito, and King Tonga.
Yeah. Wow. Those guys. My dad always talks about Creechman too. The Poisson too. I forget his name now. It's on the. I'm gonna remember it after.
$5 Monday night.
My dad used to tell me back in the day. Like the Italian feasts they used to have there.
Yeah.
There was one in LaSalle, and they used to have a wrestling ring there. This is when my grandparents, when my dad was a kid. And used to have this guy named Poisson. What was his name? Gilles the Fish Poisson. And the old man. My dad used to tell my grandfather. The old man used to throw tomatoes at this guy because he was a heel. He was a bad guy, but they believed that he was such a bad guy in real life that this guy's a piece of shit, man. And they were throwing tomatoes at him and get him out. And they were chasing him off with the brooms and everything. It was crazy. They're like, this is wrestling. It's fake, man. Like the guy was telling this old man was like, calm down. Like, but like how passionate people were back in the day. It's not. People aren't as passionate as they were back in the day, but it's great to see and great to hear stories like that. Like I told my dad, I'm like, wow, if you had that on tape, I'd watch that day in and day out, man. That'd be crazy.
Frank, we should bring that back.
You know what? Like I said, with all the COVID that happened, we were supposed to have the Jofo Jam last year. So if things go well, things go as planned, we might have an event this year for Jofo Jam. So we're gonna have comedy, we're gonna have music, wrestling as well, entertainment.
Yes,
so it's gonna be good. And for me, I would like to do it in a big venue, maybe indoors. So just in case it does rain, but I'd like to do it maybe outside as well. Block off and get the city involved and everything, and block it off and sell tickets that way, and and obviously and have a lot of fun doing it. So we'll see the time. When the time is right, everyone will know when we'll be doing this again. But look out for it this summer.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think we'll all be there. I think we're all dying to get out there and you know what? Start meeting a lot of the people that we've had on our shows, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like that. I would love that, right? We've had so many guests between the four of us. Just the opportunity to have at least meet a few of them face to face. So.
Yeah,
Frank, I have a question. Like just before we finish this,
sure.
I like cards and collecting and stuff like that. In your opinion, who is regarded as the greatest wrestler of all time within the WWF WWE world?
Ooh.
That's a great question. And remember, it's just my effing opinion, eh?
I have the answer. I have the answer, by the way. So
I don't want to be biased because I'm Canadian, but You look at all the traits, and Jeremy Prophet, he taught me this. You look at promo skills, the look, and the wrestling. You put that out of 10 on every wrestler, and that's how you judge somebody. And I'll give this guy a 10 on every single one. My favorite wrestler of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart, all the way, man.
Wow.
All the way, man. The guy
mine
made
is-
every single match believable, as much as we knew it was fake and everything. And
True.
the guy made everything like so passionate, like it was like a fairy tale storyline. And I love him, man. And that's probably one guy that bucket list wise, if I could get him on the show, I could die happy, man. So
Well, it's
man,
funny
I
because
wish
I went to Toronto and he was there. I saw him. He was signing.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Bret Hart all the way, man.
Yeah,
You guys.
I wish it for you. You, Claudio?
Mine is you know the answer already.
Oh God! Of
mine
all
is Matt-
time, Claudio, not today, not today.
Listen, mine is Matt Hardy, and it's gonna stick with
Oh,
Matt Hardy.
God.
All right, I'm a Hardy Boys fan. All right, and Bray Wyatt. I'm a Bray Wyatt fan too. So,
Okay.
Me, it's to be honest, Undertaker I like a lot, and also the Rock.
Undertaker too. Yeah, Undertaker's in that same conversation too. That's the best in the world.
Ric Flair. Woo!
Oh, I have to send you, Louis Ange. I have to send you because Ric Flair is on TNA, and he was with a wrestler, Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal was imitating Ric Flair, and then just both of them saying
They were going
back and forth. It is the most funniest
All right.
thing ever. It is.
I'm
hilarious.
gonna go with my choice. I'm going with my good friend Joe Bentivenez, Trish Stratus.
Whoa, that's Claudio's second choice, actually.
Yeah,
No,
hey,
hold on,
she's a
hold
good
on.
actress, by the way. She,
No, I know. She is.
she's
She
a
is.
really good actress.
Supposedly she's supposed to be at the Toronto house show.
Yeah.
I think in 2-3 weeks, right before the
she's
Montreal one. So
Yeah.
All
she's
joking
gonna be
aside,
there.
Frank, I think you're gonna be impressed with this. I'm gonna go with a tag team.
Okay,
Oh,
go
how about
ahead.
this?
Who-
Okay.
who?
The Road Warriors.
Oh yeah, LOD, Legion of Doom, man,
Legion of Doom.
with Paul Ellering.
The
With
original.
Paul Ellering?
The original.
The original. So with Paul, oh yeah, man, that was honestly, if anyone is a wrestling fan in our day, that's probably the top tag team that I'll say to, and I'll totally agree with you on that one. Yeah, man. Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. That is something. That is something.
I was expecting that tonight. I like it.
Yeah, no, it was good. Do you guys have any more questions? Even people in the chat, do you guys have any questions to ask Frank, or could follow us in an hour on his thing, Jofo in the Ring, Dynamite review, where we're going to talk about wrestling and stuff, and I'm going to mention more about Matt Hardy because he's coming back as Broken Matt in AEW. Oh wait, no, I'll see
Look
that.
how
for
excited he
10
is.
o'clock.
Look how excited he is.
I know it's going to be good. But hold on, before we go, Frank, March 6th, there's AEW Revolution and in-house wrestling.
Yeah, the thing is, I already bought tickets for the WWE event, but Ronda Rousey is going to be at that event, so I'm pretty excited about that. So I won't be able to usually I do a live stream for that pay-per-view, which is AEW on that same night. I won't be doing it, but I like to record stuff and put it on my channel, and so I'll be recording some stuff from the event.
Nice.
Hopefully, maybe go backstage. Maybe I got a few hookups that could maybe make that happen for me. So hopefully that'll happen. But March 6th, WWE is going to be at the Place Laval. It's not the Bell Center, the Place Laval or Laval. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah.
Then the week after is IWS, where Jeremy is going to be fighting in the main event in a street fight for the tag team titles. And if they lose, they have to disband the team. And if they win, they obviously win the title. So we're going to be watching that one very closely. But I'll be there March 12th. I know there's still tickets available for IWS, Claudio, if you want to come.
Interesting.
Yeah, how about WWE? Tickets are also.
I know there's tickets because I know that they're opening up full capacity now. Before it wasn't, so now I think there's more tickets available.
Are we going to be sitting next
check it out,
together?
man.
Or will we sit next together if I purchase a ticket?
100%.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good.
Frank, tell us where everybody can find you on social media.
Well, everyone could find me on social media, Jofo in the Ring. We are on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and of course on Twitter. That's it. Myself, Frank Jofo, I have a personal account. I'm not on it that often. I'm usually the one behind the Jofo in the Ring account. So if you guys want to ask me any wrestling related questions or collaboration questions, hit me up on Jofo in the Ring on any social media platform. You could find Jofo in the Ring, one word. That's it. That's all.
So, guys, how about I make a suggestion? Okay, the four of us, Friday night, we go to Frank's neck of the wood and we go see DJ Teeks at La Belle La Boeuf, my buddy's place, and we have some drinks and we finally meet in person. How about
Yes.
that?
You know
guys?
what?
Yes,
I
yes.
like that. I like that. I'm down for
Yes.
that. I'm down
That's
for that.
I can't this Friday, but next Friday I'm down.
No,
Okay, so this Friday we're gonna do it without Claudio. Screw you, Claudio. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Whatever
might
you
not be
guys
there.
want, I'm one message, one phone call away. So just let me know. No problem.
I think they're starting. They're going to start the DJ when they go back to full capacity, technically. So
Yes.
it's not right away. So let's plan that
Nice.
for a future one.
Oh,
Frank, it's been a
perfect,
pleasure.
man.
Thanks
I'm
so
in.
much,
Yes.
buddy.
Yeah, thank you very
And-
much, Frank.
Yeah, and
Thank
people,
you very much, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, no way. Thanks for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. As mentioned, Frank Jofo's page, Jofo in the Ring, and even our page, and even our separate page, Dirty Four Podcast. Agree to disagree. The Ange TV show. Subscribe to all of us, and just one button away, and so you get to see more of our shenanigans. And that's it. Good show. Thanks, Trax, and to
There he
everyone
is.
in the
Thanks, Trax.
chat.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, everybody in the chat, Joe, Benjavinia, Pat, Mel, Emily, everyone, even on Facebook and YouTube, thank you so much. We're going to be back here in 2 weeks. Ange, did I take your spotlight for the outro, or you want me to keep going?
Go ahead, Claudio.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's been our time. Thank you very much, and you know what? We're all going to see you soon when things open up. Let's meet in person, and y'all have some drinks, and let's have some fun later. Bye, everyone. Oh, check Frank and I AEW Dynamite review at 10 p.m. So get back into wrestling. We'll be there. I'll talk about Matt Hardy coming back. What? All right, bye, everyone. Later.